Hi, my name is Melanie Siebert, and I'm going to read to you from my book, Heads Up, Changing Minds on Mental Health. It's a guide to everything mental health, mental illness, trauma, and recovery. It's for teens and young adults, and it's illustrated by Bell Withrich, and I just love this little guy on the cover. He's just going into the cave of the brain with his light and his curiosity, and I love how curious and intrepid he looks. This book has got lots of stories of people who've been through their own mental health journey, including my own. And I know lots of people are going through a tough time right now. So if that's you, or if that's someone in your family, or maybe one of your friends, I hope this is a book that can give you information and stories that help you see your way through the tough time. I'm going to read Asante's story. Asante is a peer support worker at Stella's Place in Toronto. His story really inspired me. This is a picture of him, painted by Stephanie Cardoso. I just love that painting. And this is the story of when Asante was in high school. So in 10th grade, Asante stopped hanging out with friends. He stopped enjoying school. He'd always been a good student. His mom had taught him to read at age 3, and being a whiz kid had always kind of been his thing. But he no longer cared. He had no motivation. Nobody knew what was going on at home, and he didn't know who to turn to. Asante's mom had been going to university and working a bunch of low-paying jobs trying to support her 3 kids. She was stressed and irritable, but Asante didn't know how bad things really were. Then one Sunday morning, when he was watching the Euro Cup finals with his brother, a crisis team knocked on the door. His mom was slumped in the bedroom, pills scattered all around her. Bravely, she had called the crisis line and asked for help. That night, she was taken to the hospital, given a prescription for antidepressants, and then she was sent home. It felt like a wrecking ball hit me, Asante remembers. How bad was it? Had she come close to dying? Would the pills help? Who could he turn to or call if she wasn't well? A few months later, Asante came home from school and found out she was in the hospital again. It hit him. There wasn't going to be a quick fix. His mom was in the hospital for weeks, and this time the pills stayed scattered on the floor. He just couldn't look at them. Asante's feelings of isolation turned into deep anxiety. He didn't hang out with friends, or date, or go to parties. He didn't really even talk to anyone. He became very self-conscious about his body, thinking he was too skinny, that his head was too big for his body, and his teeth were too crowded and jacked up. Eventually, he stopped looking in the mirror altogether. He was worried that people thought he was weird. It got to the point where he could barely leave the house. I felt like there was something tremendously wrong with me because I couldn't do what other kids my age were doing, Asante says. All I knew was something was wrong with Mom and something was wrong with me. Back then, Asante didn't really understand what was happening. Today, knowing more of his mom's story has helped him understand his own story. If I told you all the things my mom has been through, Asante says, you wouldn't believe it. He speaks of her with warmth and admiration. Asante's mom grew up in Jamaica, in a poor family. They never had a stable place to live, and they had to scrounge through garbage for food. When Asante was only 3, his mom moved with her children to Canada to escape violence and to build a new life. But even after her 2 suicide attempts, the worst was yet to come. Asante could tell that his mom was really struggling, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. Even though she was holding down 2 jobs, it was like she was checked out, in a fog. The look on her face had changed. So had the rhythm of her speech. She started to be afraid that the government and the police were after her for some outstanding student loans. She started forbidding Asante to go places and to answer the phone. I would try to reason with her, but it was just impossible, Asante says. He soon realized that arguing didn't help her become more realistic in her thinking. Asante's mom started hearing voices, and the paranoia increased in intensity. She flushed her reading glasses down the toilet because she thought the authorities could spy on her through them. With a hammer, she destroyed the computer that had her university papers on it. Then she ordered Asante and his brothers to spread the pieces of the computer in random dumpsters across Toronto. Asante rode the bus with the smashed up computer in his bag, thinking, okay, I'm just going to do this thing that I know doesn't make sense because it'll calm her down. The internet got cut off. The TV got cut off. Asante would steal food and ration it through the week. He'd come home from school to spend time with his mom. He'd make toast or spaghetti and try to coax her to eat. For months, she was barely sleeping or eating. She became so thin you could see her heart beating in her chest. At the same time, Asante slipped into depression. I was really sad all the time, he says. I had no motivation. I stopped doing homework. It was impossible for me to get excited about anything. I didn't know what it was like to have fun anymore. I was still going to school every day, but I had completely disengaged from life. The switch went off and I was kind of done. Asante turned to poetry and rap lyrics. Some of the angry and violent emotions coming out on the page actually scared him. But this outlet also helped him to get through this time. One night, Asante and his brothers realized they had to get help. Things were getting scary again. It was like their mom was a different person. She was angry and scared of everything. Conspiracies were spinning in her head. When they tried to convince her to go to the hospital, she refused. She threatened to jump off a nearby overpass. Quickly, they called 911. She was in hospital for months. The doctors said she had been only a week away from dying of starvation. This time, when she was released from the hospital, she was connected with a team of professionals. She had been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and prescribed antipsychotics. She started to learn how to manage her own mental health. For Asante, the sense of relief was immense. She was finally getting help. This was the beginning of her recovery. And even though Asante would continue to struggle with depression in his university years, it was the beginning of his recovery too. He started playing basketball morning, noon, and night. He had a coach who believed in him, and the school gym was usually open. He started working out and analyzing games on TV. While he had started grade 12 without much skill, he ended the year as the team's most valuable player. Basketball helped him meet people and make friends. It was a way of feeling alive again. Eventually, Asante went to get help from a therapist. She was super real with me, Asante says. She helped me open up to discover things about myself and my life that I hadn't clued into. All the things that I thought were wrong with me suddenly had an explanation. They made sense. And that was the beginning of the shame lifting. Asante encourages people to reach out for support to a teacher, a counselor, a peer worker, or some other trusted person. When I was younger, he says, I thought that if I talked to a professional, it would mean that I was crazy or that something was fractured or broken, and I didn't want to see myself that way. But now he realizes that having a listening ear and someone to help you understand what's going on can just be so helpful. Today, Asante is the leader of the peer support training program at Stella's Place, a hub for youth mental health in Toronto. To stay healthy, he makes smoothies and focuses on turning his eye inward through writing or through just taking a quiet moment. He pays close attention to how relaxed or stressed he is in his body. and he is now a lot better at recognizing how he's feeling in the moment. He tries to remember that even if what he's feeling is intense, it'll probably be less intense in 3 hours or 3 days or 3 weeks. All pain is temporary, he often reminds the people he works with. It might be really difficult for a while, but you can get through it. Thanks.